Today I've taken it on myself to create the final evolution of 7 other of my Paradox starters. I can already tell you that 2 of these pieces are placed high up on my tier list, and I'm certain you will love them too. The first piece of today is for rocking bones. I couldn't find a good pose for Rillaboom, so I decided to try to make my own. I spent over an hour trying to get a good one, but I had to give up since I'm not good enough at sketching anatomy yet. This is the exact reason why I'm tweaking the original art pieces, so I can still make something that closely resembles the original Pokemon. Now that we have that out of the way, it was time to go back and tweak such art piece. We started out by giving him a lot more leaves on his body, especially on the part under his chin, where it now looked like he has a beard. We also experimented with more leaves on his back, but that just cluttered up the silhouette, so we decided to move away from that idea. We did still want to do something with his back, but it had to be different from these leaves. My first thought was a skull-shaped drum, but from this side you wouldn't be able to see what it was supposed to look like. This is why I opted to give him a huge bone as a powerful drumstick. I still think that this was the best option, since it really fits the evolution line. Other changes were bigger leaves on his arm, clay bracelets, and we extended the spikes on his shoulders. Booming drums. The Paradox Pokemon. This Pokemon is very aggressive until he has found the right bone to play music with. It can sometimes take them years to find one, and they have to slaughter many huge Pokemon in order to get the perfect one. Once they found their bone, they are very friendly because they can express their rage in their music. This piece almost made me lose my sanity. I hate it when I'm not able to do something, so it sucked not being capable enough to make our own pose. I am very happy with the end result, but man, please don't do that again to me. Up next is the evolution for Iron Edge. Our piece for Duat is still one of the best future forms we made. It didn't lose the feeling of the Pokemon, but it isn't just a robotic version either. I wanted to make sure we made that happen for this piece as well. We tried to do so by giving him the blade onto his head, which makes it look a bit more natural. The biggest other changes were made to his belly. We made sure to add some depth to that area by using the metallic line trick we learned from studying Iron Hands. If you're not sure what that trick is, let me explain it to you. The main thing you do is draw a simple line above the shape you want to give the 3D look. Make sure your line follows the direction of the shape. If it's a square shape, you will have to use a straight line, which you can see in the upper part of his belly. If it's a round shape, you will have to use a rounded line. This can be seen in the middle of his belly. After that, you will need the shade in that area to give it the optimal look. Et voila, your piece looks a lot more robotic. Iron Samurai. The Paradox Pokemon. This Pokemon is a very noble and hardened creature. It will only fight opponents which it finds equal to them. If 2 of these species come across each other, they have an hour-long battle to see which one of them is superior. Once the outcome of this battle is clear, they greet each other with respect and go back on their way. I'm not sure if everyone will agree with me on this, but I think this is a perfect future form. I've really managed to fit in all those robotic shapes, but we also added something extra, which most of the future forms do. Our third evolution is for Primal Flame. I think that Charizard might be the only one who actually gets a real Paradox form, since he wasn't shared on previous gimmicks either. I do actually love most of his other forms, so I thought it would be cool to merge all of them together into a Paradox form. We did still have to make sure we also added the features of our Charmeleon form into the design, since it does still need to fit the evolution line. We started out by using the Mega Charizard Y form as a base. I love this design a lot, because in my opinion it fills up all the old features of the regular Charizard's design. Our first changes were the spikes on the tip of the wings, which I stole from the other Mega form. The next changes we made were to make his head look a bit less streamlined by enlarging the spikes on the back of it. We then just added the red spikes from our previous stages. I know we used the frill on those two, but I wasn't happy with it anyways, so it felt good to get rid of it. The last big changes we made was to add the flaming wings from the Gigantamax form, and we also used the scaly belly pattern to make it look even more prehistoric. For the colors we kept the Mega Y form palette, but we also added in the red accent color. You might be thinking it doesn't look enough like the other Mega form, but I might be able to change that opinion when you see a shiny. Radiant Drake. the Paradox Pokemon. This Pokemon shares a lot of similarities with the Charizard we know. It does appear to have a lot of features which aren't present in the average Charizard, making us believe that Radiant Drake is related to a more superior form of Charizard. It is well known for its constantly blazing wings and its fear-inducing roar. While it can fly at impressive speeds, it prefers to capture its prey within its wings to go for the finishing attack. Yeah, I know I said I probably wasn't going to top the design of our future form of Swampert, but this piece came really close. I can't put it above my boy Swampert, but I can't put it lower than him either. These guys just both deserve the golden medal. Only 12% of you guys are actually subscribed to my channel. Don't get me wrong, I really appreciate that you watch my videos, but if you enjoy my videos, I'd highly appreciate it even more if you'd subscribe. Once I'm done with all of these starters and the Pikachu and Eevee lines, we'll take on Paradox forms of legendaries and eventually mythicals. Well, you know what to do, just click that freaking button. The fourth evolution is for Iron Torch. We started out by making a lot of her features more blocky, just like we did for the second stage. These features were mostly the fur she has on her design, but we also did it for the tail. Our next change we made was to segment her fingers and toes. This always helps a lot to make it feel more robotic. After that, we added a rubber patch in the middle of her body, and we used the depth trick again. I did get some feedback on our breaks in forum, where the person didn't like that it didn't do anything for the stick. This is why I decided to add a handle in the middle of this one, instead of just making the entire thing a lighted part. I do have to say that it's quite difficult to make these Pokemon feel like the new typing we want, because we still have to use the same color palette to fit it into the evolution line. Iron Witch, the Paradox Pokemon. Rumors say that Iron Torch lost his fiery, cheerful spirit after a certain traumatic event. This made it evolve into this new form. It is known to cast hexes and curses on those that it despises without warning. This only causes misfortune to those unsuspecting of its immense mystical powers. I've never really loved Delphox before, but when I see the shiny of this form, I could actually see myself using this Pokemon. Our next evolution is for Iron Knuckles. This was one of those species where the objective for it was so clear from the start that it wasn't really an issue to put it onto paper. We used the exact same feature changes we did for Monferno, like the detached arms and the segmented tail and fingers. We did do something different which we didn't do for Monferno, which was making the fur look blocky like we did for many of the future forms. I did struggle a bit on deciding the right color palette. Regular Infernape uses a lot of white in the design, but that just doesn't really look good with the added black colors. This is why I decided to make his feet black as well, to hopefully make it look better. Iron Fist, the Paradox Pokemon. Even though this Pokemon might not be as aggressive as his second stage once was, its sole purpose is still to harm others. It has become a lot stronger with this new form, so not even the bigger Pokemon are safe. We have a strong feeling this Pokemon was designed for an evil organization. Is Team Rocket still a thing in the future? I have to admit that this piece is probably the only piece of the final stages which I don't really like. I think it has something to do with the color palette, but I just wasn't able to fix it. Well, it is what it is. The sixth evolution of today is for Masked Zipper. I found a pose I wanted to use, but the picture was in a very low quality. This didn't make it impossible to work with, but I must say that it wasn't enjoyable either. We know he wanted to go for the dark electric typing, so our job was to tweak our features to fit this typing. The electric typing was easy, because we already established a lot of those details in our previous two designs. I'm talking about the sharp edges, the electric bolts on our face, and eventually the electric yo-yo. I did change it into a whip, but it can probably still function as a yo-yo. The dark typing wasn't necessarily difficult either, because the mask and the dark colors in general already helps a lot in that department. I did struggle a bit with the mane because of the mask, which was mainly due to my wrong approach for it. Jesus. I tried to place it in front of her head, but we didn't have enough room there, and I think it wouldn't have worked on an anatomy level either. The last thing we tried to get it to feel like the typing was to base the color palette on it. This did look awesome, but it wouldn't really fit the evolution line anymore, so we decided to use this palette for a shiny. Bolting Mage, the Paradox Pokemon. This Pokemon uses its whip as a weapon to electrocute other Pokemon. It has a very high understanding of controlling electricity, which it teaches to their previous stages in order for them to evolve faster. Even though they can control electricity very well, they do still like to test their limits, resulting in a lot of damage around their habitats. In the end, this piece really came together, and I feel like it's a good final stage to finish up the line. Our final evolution for today is for Ivy Raptor. I decided to use all the Mega variants for all the final stage Hoenn starters. I did this because Hoenn is my favorite region, and it still has the best set of starters of all time. The goal for this piece was to implement a few venomous features and to make it look a bit more like a dinosaur in general. We started out by drawing in the tongue, which is a big part of this evolution line. We followed this up by adding serpent-like fangs into his mouth, which suddenly gave me an idea for the entire concept. I could really see this Pokemon act like a rattlesnake, so I decided to make his tail a bit thinner and to look a bit close to a real rattlesnake tail. The last changes we made were the raptor-like claws on his feet, the claws on his hand, and we changed the spikes on his arms into blades. The color palette for this creature was a bit different than a real Megasceptile as well. I added in a white color on his chest and his tail because I wanted to emulate a bone-like structure with the goal of showing off how deadly this Pokemon is. Sizzling Snake, the Paradox Pokemon. This Pokemon lost the thrill of the hunt. Only one bite is enough to take down most of their prey, but they like to play with their food before they strike. You can hear a rattling sound around you, but Sizzling Snake blends in perfectly with the foliage of the jungle, so you have no clue where it actually is. I went a bit ham on his shiny, because I wanted to play around what this Pokemon would look like if he didn't have to follow the Paradox rules. I thought it would look awesome with a more poison-like color palette, so that's why the shiny looks like this. Well, just one more episode to go to finish all the final stage starters. Incredible. Let me know which one was your favorite, and goodbye.